and I don't know if you can see this, Walter Israel Wertheimer, Israel Jacob Wertheimer, that Israel again identified you as being non-Aryan Jewish, and historians now tell us that this, and this is really again odd, that this was done by the Nazis to accommodate some other countries, particularly the French and the Swiss, that the Jews wouldn't run across the border unidentified, so that the Swiss particularly had an opportunity to say, hey, if you don't have a permit, you can't come in here. If you don't have a permit, you can't come in here. I made reference to the Nuremberg laws. This is the legal dissertation and the proclamation of what distinguishes a Jew non-Aryan from an Aryan. The introduction, the lawyer who wrote that in the middle of the night, writes an introduction in there that was meant for the people of that time, and it says, we really don't want to do all that. This separation where we use various racial differences and so forth to say we have to divorce each other, he says. We don't like that. But we hope that you Jews, who have been so faithful to your German homeland, will be one day soon equally faithful to Palestine, and that you will start a new land in Palestine. Now, the reason that this is so odd is that there were people, historians have now said, that the Nazis and many Nazis thought that this would be perhaps, this was still in the 30s, a way to get the Jews to move to Israel. And there's a book, I can't quote you the book now, where you could buy certificates. And they made it easier for German Jews to buy them, because these certificates was like international cash that Hitler could use to import goods. So this all had a reason, but it was, when you read that, you say, well, that doesn't sound so bad. You want us to be, how should I say, dehumanized isn't the word. You want us to be separate and ostracized, but you're doing it for a good purpose. And it's also for our sake, you know. This is the irony. But I have to show you, in closing, the year 1938, Hitler marched into Austria. Later on, Hitler marched into Czechoslovakia. Long before Kristallnacht, November, my parents and every Jewish family had to fill out a form declaring their net worth. Nobody knew why the Nazis were doing that. It is a Verzeichnis der Vermögen der Juden. It's only for Jews. You had to list all your assets and liabilities. And my father filled it out to the last dot, you know, crossed all the T's. People said, well, why do they want that? This was before Crystal Night. And I'm saying the Nazis knew, if it wasn't this situation in Paris with this murder of the German consul or the assistant consul, they would find another reason to start a pogrom. This was planned. And then the last thing is that my father finally got his notice in 1938 that he was now disbarred. At the end of 38, they told him he could no longer practice. Yeah, sure. This says in very, very short and unadorned language that it's finished. It doesn't say get out, but you have no reason or no justification to be a lawyer in Germany. And this was dated October 17th. The law was passed. Laws in Germany were never laws that were passed, legislated. It was all decrees, and it says by the decree of October, you are no longer a lawyer. This November was when they had the onslaught against the Jewish people. It was well staged. I think one of the great retrospective things, and you read it in literature, it was all planned. This didn't happen without any preparation. It was all, how should I say, the scenarios were written, they were followed, and they used the techniques. They didn't have to go in front of a parliament. They didn't have to get approval, the Hitler regime. And yet, in 1936, we had the Olympic Games in Germany, which was touted as a big event, international event, and nobody in the world said anything. That's a chapter by itself. I could tell you stories about when Nazis marched into the Rhineland, which was neutral. The response, certainly on the Jewish side, when people thought, well, the Allies who defeated the Germans are not letting Hitler's armies move into the Rhineland, which was a neutral military zone. All Jewish families in my town who had relatives across in France, it's no longer Alsace-Lorraine, it was then France. We would visit, we would call each other, and we would say, what's going to happen? It's within 35. Are you going to do anything? Germans didn't do anything. No protests.
Well, I thank you for sharing your piece of history with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And if you ever had interest or any need to have more about some of these publications, I also have that book of Aryan, non-Aryan Jewish lawyers. And there are not many copies of these things, particularly the introduction.
Do you have that copy there?
Yeah, the
Well,
introduction.
if you have the copy, we might as well just show it.
Well, I think I have the front page of it.
Okay. Okay, and that is the front page to...
Of the Directory of Non-Aryan Lawyers. Doesn't say Jewish lawyers. A directory of non-Aryan lawyers by state, German state, by township, by city. Name of the lawyer, address, phone number. So that you would not make a mistake and go to a Jewish lawyer, or that no Gentile lawyer wouldn't make the mistake of referring a client to a Jewish lawyer. 1934.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Very welcome. I appreciate the opportunity to do this.
You're welcome.
And wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And you too.